Welcome back to KTN Prime. Thank you for staying with us. It's now time for the studio discussion, which is centered on the state of governance and politics in the country. We'll be drawing examples from events that have played out recently, not just the opposition voices crackdown, but equally the pressure given by the former Deputy President, Rigathi Gachagua, claiming his life is in danger. We'll take a look at these issues, including others. I'm joined in studio already by Onesmus Ngogoyo, who's the Member of Parliament for Kajiado North. Karibu sana, Mheshimiwa. How are the people of Kajiado North doing?
Thank you. They're well, faring good.
Yes.
Pleasure having me here.
Asante sana for your time. It seems that Didmas Barasa won't be joining us as expected, but the show must go on. Let's start with the latest that played out just yesterday, where there was a dramatic showdown in Kitale, Trans-Zoya County during the anti-corruption crackdown targeting Governor George Natembeya. We well know of what happened, the irate residents descending upon EACC sleuths, which is quite unfortunate. But at the end of the day, we won't talk about the crux of the matter, what exactly he is facing in the corridors of justice, of course, sub judice, but we'll talk about the optics, what exactly is playing out, because it seems, according to some Kenyans, that the criminal justice system has been weaponized to target dissenting voices, especially leaders who are aligned with opposition politics. We had some reactions from various leaders following the predicament facing the Trans-Zoya Governor George Natembeya, and he's not alone. Equally, Peter Salasya found himself in the dock. Let's listen in to some of the sentiments that were shared.
Power is transient, and we know today we are being harassed. Today, I should not be mishandled the way they did, because I've announced my presidential bid, and I want to ask President William Ruto that I can only be the best president if, as I'm going to win the president of 2027, I'll be the best, because I will not harass him.
This is a political witch hunt. I believe this is deliberate intimidation and harassment of the opposition that is meant to silence, particularly those very vocal leaders.
Okay, there were more reactions. Hopefully we'll get them a little bit later on, even as leaders reacted to the optics around the arrest and consequent arraignment of George Natembeya and Peter Salasya, who are both opposition members of parliament and a governor as well. So it seems Kenyans can't differentiate the line between the fight against corruption and political persecution. That line seems to be blurred, at least according to the optics. What's your take? Has the criminal justice system been weaponized to settle political scores? Is there harassment of opposition leaders?
Contrary to the commitment by the president to end weaponization of the criminal justice system, the current regime is deep into weaponizing the criminal justice system to achieve political gain. George Natembeya, who has been charged in court, I will not talk about the matters in court, but courtesy of his consistent, resilient attitude, forthright nature in which he addresses issues, and his consistent messaging of wrong things that this regime wants to achieve has put him where he is today. George Natembeya is a well-known civil servant in this republic, having served in the provincial administration, served as one and rated by many, he has been rated by many, what do you call this?
Bodies.
Yes, these bodies that do rating, that has been rated one of the best governors, having spent his money, especially on development, and having tangible issues, and especially on agriculture, because his county is one of those counties that are good in agriculture. And courtesy of that, holding big meetings, telling the government that you're wrong on this one, I do not agree on security, removing vetting for the national IDs, saying that you want to, to just open it up. And he says clearly, we do not have a problem with Kenyan Somalis, but we have a problem with Somalis who can get IDs in the wrong way. I live in a border county. It is a threat to our national security. courtesy of all that, Natembeya has found himself in court. When you look at what he has been charged for, what was said earlier on, what was written by the CEO for Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission and what he has been charged for, a bit disturbing. But because the matter is in court, I'm sure it will find its route,
okay,
and all will be well. But contrary to what the president said, he's doing the opposite. When you look at why go for Salasia, what has Salasia done?
Inflammatory remarks.
They all come from the DAP party together with George Natembeya. Which inflammatory? What is more inflammatory than what Oscar Sudi said? What is more inflammatory? He said that if in a function well recorded at Baringo, that if the votes are not enough, they will top up. What is more inflammatory than that? No action, no nothing. A number of officers, where you see some cabinet secretaries talking with a lot of bravado, people who are in charge of security, but talking carelessly without, the calmness that is required when you're running such sensitive dockets. Remember, these are CSS who serve the country. They don't serve Kenya Kwanza. This is somebody who should be talking in a cohesive manner, in a manner that puts the country together. And remember, this country is held together by the opposition, by government, and by stakeholders from all dockets. Others don't agree with the current regime, but because of all of us together, we hold together this country called Kenya. I'm also surprised that the president is not concerned over our diplomatic relationship. What happened in Tanzania? This is something that our government should have a position, because our countrymen have gone to our neighboring country, bearing in mind that we are part of the East African community. No word. Our former Chief Justice was returned from the airport. This is a high-ranking former head of one of the institutions of government. No statement from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Actually, I would have expected there would be a protest.
Well, the government spokesperson talked about it briefly, saying, Tanzania is free to do what they can. It's their jurisdiction, irrespective of the Jumuiya agreement. At the end of the day, it's their country.
Mwaura owns a Bachelor of Arts, I don't know in what. We're talking about the diplomacy of the country.
Okay.
So when we are dealing with another country, we expect a foreign country to treat members of this country based on how countries treat each other.
Okay.
You cannot return a long-serving cabinet secretary. This is somebody who has a diplomatic passport. Likewise, they do the same to a diplomat, a former Chief Justice, Emeritus, and you want to casualize it and say that that is their country? We have the East African community. Remember, movement of people and goods in the East African community has no restriction, none whatsoever. It is unfair, and I think probably he doesn't know about, I would excuse him, he doesn't know about diplomacy. Normally when you get into government, you are trained, you take a course on foreign issues. I can tell you he has not done.
Well, he's not here to defend himself. You know how we play this game. But talk to me about Marty's political allegiance, because we saw a classic example of Mtuetu syndrome, a practice where Kenyans' loyalty to one's tribe and one's ethnicity supersedes national interests. At the end of the day, if money has been lost, embezzled in Trans Nzoia County, the people who are defending George Natembeya are actually on the receiving end, because this is money meant to be used to serve the public and whatnot. So what's your reaction to this Mtuetu mentality?
The people of Trans Nzoia know the impact of their county government. Majority of them don't agree that George Natembeya has done anything in their wisdom, in their thinking, or in whatever they see. That's why they are courts.
Yeah, and investigative
agencies. Yes, the investigative agencies.
Yeah.
So based on the evidences, and the beauty is you can charge somebody in court, but remember, for you to have a conviction, you need evidence, you need so many things. So we'll be looking forward to that. But the people of Trans Nzoia don't agree with what is happening. George Natembeya, I can tell you on agriculture, he has done, the county is producing more than they were producing, courtesy of some of the subsidies he has provided. The issue of fertilizer, the issue of seed, and remember, it still remains the country that produces the most when it comes to maize. And actually, we find a lot of our small-scale farmers coming from that county.
Yeah.
It would surprise me when people in Nairobi know more about Trans Zoya. How would you know about Trans Zoya when you're in Nairobi? I would have expected that the people in Trans Zoya would be telling us their issues here and there. None of the people, the residents of Trans Zoya, that is coming out before all this. The only thing we know, Natembeya himself said, I know they are targeting me. I know what I am saying will cause me to be a victim. Natembeya has said that before. And in holding all his meetings, he has disagreed literally with a number of things in government. And why pick on Natembeya, pick on Salasia, and then try and insinuate that the former minister, Wamalwa, was trying to prevent obstructing justice. Why target the members of the DAP party? Because the DAP does not agree with government? Then I find fault in that. Remember, Natembeya organized people and he went to face the controversial leasing of the Zoya sugar factory.
Yeah, just last week.
Yes. He went there with leaders from the DAP party. All those leaders, including Cleophas Malala, were there to ask, provide with us the leasing document. Because once you lease, there is an allegation or there is, actually they have leased, GOK has leased Zoya Sugar Factory to somebody. But they just said, give us the
Documentation.
the lease document.
Yeah.
Number two, they have asked the government of Kenya, before you lease, conduct public participation and call us for the meeting. When did you hold public participation? Remember, Constitution of Kenya 2010, you cannot engage on matters people without their consent. And the courtesy of those things, remember, this is a high-level deal. The person who's seeking to lease, or rather purportedly leasing this sugar company, has two other sugar companies just right in the vicinity.
Yeah.
This is the same person 10 years ago leased pan paper. The pan paper that has not even picked up to date. They promised in 50, it's now day 50. They have not paid staff who are working in that company.
Okay.
What do they expect the people to do? Their residents, workers who are working there, people who come from that region. I'm so disappointed in the manner in which this government is treating the people from that region. It is unfair. And then, as though that is not enough, arrest George Natembeya. Arrest, the same weekend, Peter Salasia.
Yeah.
I find a lot of... this is not what we voted for. I am part of the people who voted for President William Ruto, coming from the UDA party, but I must say we got the wrong presidential candidate. We presented to Kenya the wrong presidential candidate, but it's only a mistake when you repeat it again.
Interesting. Well, let's see how the political cards play out. So at the end of the day, so much has been said, and I'd like to bring into focus what the DCP party leader had to say regarding Gachagua when he made chilling allegations accusing President William Ruto of orchestrating a plot to eliminate him. So according to the former Deputy President Gogoyo, and I think you were there as well,
Yes, I was there.
he has credible information that his private security personnel is to be disarmed and targeted for withdrawal of their firearm licenses. Let's just listen in to what the former Deputy President had to say before we get your reaction to that.
President William Ruto had ordered that I be dealt with once and for all. And since the goons sponsored by the state on several occasions had failed, police and other state security agencies had to come in. After about 30 minutes, the killer squad was joined by their counterparts who are highly trained in the use of biological weapons. Their instructions were to poison me through inhaled chemicals that would paralyze my brain within 3 months. This was the intent and the purpose of the whole operation.
Okay, that was just yesterday as he was accompanied by a couple of leaders. So what exactly has led the former deputy president to believing that his life is in danger? Some say it's a sensational claim, but the facts of the matter should be presented. What exactly is causing this worry amongst members of his camp?
Since last year, November, the deputy president has found himself attacked severally. I was with him in Limuru. We were attacked. Our cars were badly damaged. We reported to Limuru. I have an OB number to that effect. Up to date, nothing. No investigation from the DCI, from the area CPD, nothing has ever happened since date. We went to Shamata. An incident happened. A tear gas was thrown by a police officer. Up to date, nothing happened. IPOA did a report to that effect and found that the area police commander did not register an OB of the police that he deployed and the man of operation that was supposed to be there. The IPOA did a report to that effect.
Yeah.
They also found out that a police officer threw a tear gas. Up to date, DCI, police, no arrest and no nothing. So the issue that the second deputy president, Rigathi Gachagua, is raising is not new. He has just said it. He wrote a letter to the IG and the DCI asking them that they withdrew his security. He no longer has government of Kenya security. He told them that he feels exposed, and having served in the position that he served, he was entitled to security. And feeling that his life is under threat, he requested for security. Up to date, zero response from the IG and from the DCI. Remember, Rigathi Gachagua has served as the second deputy president of the Republic of Kenya for 2 years. If not for anything else, this is a leader with a following in this country. Somebody who has an opinion, somebody who carries people along with him. Yeah. If not for anything, the Constitution of Kenya 2010 guarantees every Kenyan security. Every Kenyan.
Okay.
The government of Kenya must secure every Kenyan.
All right.
If not for anything, let them secure Rigathi Gachagua because of the Constitution that they swore to protect.
And the position he held previously.
Okay,
we'll be back with more because there's some who say that this is simply bitter grapes at the end of the day. Others question why they're targeting the DCP party leader because they're giving him political mileage at the end of the day. Allow us to take a short break. We'll be back in a few. Stay with us.